5:30. I would like to call the regular board meeting, April 14th, 2025, 5:30 p.m. All students will learn well, become lifelong learners, and contribute positively to society. Could we have a call to order and a roll call, please?
Berger is absent. Carter?
Here.
Heffron? Here. Johnson?
Here.
Moore?
Here.
Thomas?
Here.
Liskus?
Here.
Okay, I'd like to welcome any visitors that we might have from our public forum. I see no one on the screen. We will move to item 3, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion, the agenda has been approved. Part 4, approve minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes have been approved. Old business, doesn't look like we have any. New business, we have our student representative.
Okay, so on April 4th, we had our,
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
it's okay. We had our NHS inductions, and 21 new members were inducted, and 2 of them were juniors. And spring sports are going on. And we have awards night next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And prom, April 26th, under the sea. It'll be fun. And then I play soccer, and we currently have 1 sub, barely enough to make a team. The only way for middle schoolers to play soccer is through the Y, and that's combined boys and girls team. If the school could offer an opportunity for girls middle school soccer, it would help the high school girls soccer program greatly.
Say that again, the girls could do what?
Well, middle school girls, they have to play on a boys and girls team in the Y.
Yeah.
And currently there's actually only a 6th grader girl and an 8th grader girl on the team right now. So I was just wondering if we could have a separate team for soccer.
At the middle school.
Are there other middle schools that have soccer teams?
That's a good question.
So the problem that you bring up is one that's been around a long time, because when my kids played soccer, they had the same thing. They had to get like a Y10 or a Y12 team, they had to combine boys and girls. And they had no subs. So that's going on, 10, 15 years ago. It's been a long-standing problem.
Okay.
And the question is, where's there another middle school team? And the answer is through the Y system. But I like the initiative.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could just get something going, the whole southern Iowa. Yeah.
But it's a valid issue. It is.
We want to make sure we have enough girls next year, right? That's our big goal.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that'll be it.
Got some real hard on the team.
How many days left to
They're
school?
Oh,
How many days left to school?
Why would she know that?
Some kids are counting it down.
I think like 20-ish.
I think so, 26.
Somewhere around there.
I know some kids are counting it down, that's why I was curious.
Did you count down the days you had left in the military? Yes, you did.
I probably
Where
I
did.
did too.
Kelly, where's prom activities at? Where's prom, where's after prom?
I think prom's at the high school. Wait, the prom parade's at the high school, and then we go to the bridge for the dance, and then we go back to the high school for after prom.
That's right. Very good. Anything else? Any other questions or comments for this fine young lady?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Years.
Yes, thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Yes. We have a gentleman that just came in.
I was just supposed to sit here and watch.
Okay. We had a public
You picked
comment
the right
part, and I
meeting.
thought
You picked the right one.
I think it's government class.
Government class.
You should have been here at our last meeting. You really-
Oh, man.
All right, well, thank you for coming.
Yep.
Next is their approval of the technology purchases.
You want me to talk to him?
Yeah,
Um,
can I explain what they are?
So the one that was in the packet that didn't come late, that is an entire bid for access points across the entire district, except here in the bus farms, there's only like 3 extra ones that we'd have to buy out of pocket, but we'll do that in the future. It wouldn't be discountable through E-rate if we did it that way. So the budget, or the price point on there was like, what, $61,000, but we ended up only paying 70% of that, which I think was the $18,000. So that's what that one is. And then the other 3 ones that came late, Mark had a great idea of reaching out about, the prices going up with possible tariffs coming through. So we reached out and said, what can we do to order for next year? So 2 of the bids are actually gonna be for the 25-26 funding year, but we can order them now to avoid that pricing. And then the other one, I'm just gonna do with my budget from this year. But what they are is all new computers here for the admin staff and secretaries, and then all new computers for the preschool. And then the 2 for the 25-26 is a Chromebook order for the 6th grade students that come in that we do every year. We buy them, they're one-to-one new devices that'll follow throughout the high school. And then new computers for all the staff at Howard. So we're hitting that point where the last purchase we made of a bunch of computers about 6-7 years ago, they're getting dated. Windows 10 end of life is in October, so we've got to start slowly replacing those and upgrading what we've got now.
So what's the need to upgrade the access points?
They are like 10 years old, and their end of life firmware was about 6 months ago. Also, they're only 1 gig, and the new one should be 10 gig. Future proofing and stuff.
Move to approve?
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the technology purchases. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved.
Thanks, guys.
Approval of the emergency radio purchase.
So this is a county-wide item. We had talked to Gary Anderson, and he kind of put together some information on this. It's chipping in from us, from Moravia and the sheriff's office, in order to have emergency radios that actually can communicate back with sheriffs and PD and dispatch. Our buttons right now that we got through the governor's safety grant will just give an alert to their radios, but this would allow us to actually have somebody on the inside able to talk to them. The ask is 10,000 from each school district, and then the additional 5-ish thousand, I think it is gonna be directly from the sheriff's office on that, if we're able to approve.
So we're partnering with Moravia because of,
Because we're in the same county.
is it a bulk purchasing thing or what?
No, the sheriff's office is the one doing the purchasing and getting them programmed and installed.
So what it is, it's a separate radio installed at the law center. It's straight communication to the law center from each school, and it can be heard on state radios throughout the state of Iowa. So Julie got on the radio. Any law enforcement agency or officer that has that channel is hearing it.
So this gives us another tool to use in emergency situations, with cost sharing, so that it isn't all on us to pay for everything.
And some people playing at home, they say, well, why couldn't they just put an old radio in from current PD, current sheriff's office? To Mike's point is, that call goes out, I mean, you're gonna have troopers from anywhere and everywhere coming this way, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but, no, that's a cool system.
Move to approve?
Excellent. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the.
I'm sorry, who's seconding that?
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the emergency radio purchase signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion on the 24-25 budget amendment.
Okay, just to start off, a reminder that making an amendment to the budget does not increase tax rate, doesn't do anything to anyone's property taxes. There are 4 categories in the budget, and the only one I need to amend is the total support services. I'm actually not increasing the entirety of the budget. It's just that, the early retirements that I'm paying out, there are certain, some of those that are coded to like the support services, which includes administration codes. So, I didn't put anything there for that last year. So that's basically, the majority of that with all the vacation and sick leave payout and the incentive.
So it's a recoding for audit
It's a
purposes.
recoding. So, and I rounded up just to, that's just what you do. So that's the only thing I need to amend this year.
And this requires a public hearing on May 12th?
Yes, so, yeah, so basically this item is that we're, I'm just telling you
We're just setting
what
a
I'm
date.
doing and then we're setting a date.
Yes.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the date of May 12th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. May 12th it is. Item E, 2025-26 certified budget discussions.
Okay, so you guys have seen most of these slides, but there's been some changes. So the SSA rate has been set, but it was set after. Well, it's not legally set, so I have to publish still at the 2.25, or 2.25, but, it's gonna be 2, so, but anyway, so we'll just go through these slides again. I won't stay on a lot of them since you've seen them the last time. And this is information that's gonna go out. The very last page of this document is gonna go into the paper on Wednesday, and then our final budget hearing will be on the 28th. So I just wanna make you guys aware what's gonna be in the paper and all the information for it goes out. And also, I'm willing to do this presentation on the 28th if we have visitors, so I will do that.
That's a good idea.
So, the first slide, page, you guys obviously already know of our decrease in students, from 60, or approximately 66 students, and then we're projecting a 20 decrease next year. The next page is our open enrollment trend. Like you'll see, the red is open enrolled in, the gray is open enrolled out, and then the net is white. So we're net negative 92.2. State supplemental aid is gonna be 2%. Historic district cost per pupil goes back to fiscal year 15 there. So the 2%, you'll see that we got up to the 8,000. Budget guarantee, so the bottom section, that is at 2.25, so that's no longer, that's not the correct one. So if you'll notice up there in the green, 427,221 is the budget guarantee. And, we have something here. Just so you know, budget guarantee, estimated property tax rate impact is $1.24 per thousand. The next slide is SSA versus new money, just to kind of show you guys what the state says SSA, what we're getting is, and what we're actually getting. So because of budget guarantee, we're getting the 1%, which is not 2%, and we haven't settled yet, so that's why that's blank.
That's not good, 1%.
No. The next one is, just so you guys know, the board controlled levy rates. Cash reserve is 0, regular PEPAL, management, instructional support, and the surplus debt service that we approved last time. Those are all board controlled levy rates. Voter controlled levy rates is the voted PEPAL, and just the basic debt service, which is the amount that is for us to actually pay the bills for the year, outstanding loans. State controlled levy rate is that's the 2% SSA, so that's 1037 at 2%. Just to always keep track of the expiration of voted levies, so the next time instructional support levy will be 2031, and the voted Pebble is 2031 as well. And then just a list of the payments that we will make this year from the debt service fund for sales tax revenue bonds and then zero bonds. Just to show you, I still kept in the 2.25, just to show you what we were looking at. I'm sorry, that should say FY '26, I'm not sure I'm gonna change that. But so what is being published, what we talked about at the proposed hearing is 1671. At 2.25, it would have been 1664. So that's a difference of, well, I mean, in comparison to what it is this year, so it's about a 5-cent increase, or it would have been a 2-cent or 1-cent decrease if it would have been 2.25. And then, total property tax rate history is on the next page. So we've been trending down, even though we're publishing a 5-cent increase. You'll notice in FY '19, it was 1873, and so 1671 is, a lot better than that. The next one is, it just shows dollar amounts, what those levies, the amount of money it actually brings. If you'll notice, in the management fund, there's a big difference there. We really decreased what we're levying for management for next year. The next page is kind of a listing of tax rates for city, college, county, and school. Take that, you can take that what you want, so. But if you'll notice, the school, we've been decreasing since FY '20 and FY '19, I just don't have it on here. So what we're adopting in the paper, or what's being published, 16.71481. There are 4 categories that go in the paper, and that's instruction, total support services, non-instructional programs, and total other expenditures. And the next page is kind of, shows the actual dollars for that. The biggest difference is the total other expenditures with a decrease of over 600,000. That's because of our facilities construction. Transfers out is also decreasing because that's debt payments, and our debt payments are a little bit less this year. And then the back page is what's going in the paper. So the total other expenditures, the average percentage is a 3-year average, so the biggest one is the total other expenditures, that's facilities and construction. So we're gonna publish 16.71. The board has the authority to decrease that, but they can't increase it. So now that we know what SSA is gonna be, and it's gonna be 2%, at this point, it will be the 1671. Unless the state when they make their changes, it can increase or decrease. John Parker from the Department of Management said that it would likely decrease a little bit once he makes his final changes, but he couldn't say how much. So we have, the board and the district has all the way up until the date of adoption on April 30th. If they want to do something different. So that's all I have for tonight on that. And so we'll have our actual meeting where you will adopt the budget on April 28th at 5:30. And like I said, this back page goes on our website and in the paper on Wednesday. Does anybody have any questions or any comments or any direction they want me to lead or go into?
On the one sheet, SSA versus new money, I guess where it says, the state's giving us 2%, not the 2.25,
Mm-hmm.
and then the new money is 1%. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so, was someone else?
What's that?
I thought I interrupted someone. So the state, I mean, they say 2%,
Yeah.
which everyone thinks we're getting 2% on what we got last year. But that's not true based on our decrease in enrollment. So the
Oh.
increase is actually only 1% to us, which is $104,000.
So
There's a decrease in enrollment.
If
Right.
your new enrollment number with the 2% SSA increase would not equal 101% of your previous year's budget, you're on the 101% budget guarantee, so you get a 1% increase for 1 year. The challenge is if it's 1% from SSA, that money continues every year. With 101% budget guarantee, we actually will get a chunk of money next year to get a 1% increase, but that 1% will disappear the next year. So we won't actually have that increase carrying forward. So just kind of a little wonky deal.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to catch
No.
that. And you'll notice the number for the new money there is exactly the number we were looking at, like this is what we need to cut in order to be financially right. I mean, it's right in that same ballpark that we've been talking all year, so that worked out perfectly.
Any further questions or discussion? All right, we'll move on to personnel business procedures.
So, oh no, that's financials. There was a request for an additional payout for a resignation there. Wanted to make sure to call that to your attention.
So it's my understanding that legally we can't do that.
Unless we had a separate negotiated agreement out of the general fund, yeah.
Okay.
But the days still can be per master agreement. So the days are still able to be paid
Because
out the way our master
Because you
agreement.
notified by the April
Right.
1st.
Yep.
Okay.
So
those
we are still
paid.
clean on that
Yeah, okay.
to take care of somebody. Yeah.
I don't know how to proceed with this one because that letter requests in there to make sure that there's clear communications of what we're approving tonight from a motion.
Right.
So do we need to just?
Maybe pull that one out
Pull
and
that
then,
one out.
because I would really like if we could also thank that individual for their
Right,
service.
yeah, I agree, I agree. But I just want to make sure the meeting minutes and what our vote is
Yeah.
clear.
So I believe, are you requesting to pull
Yeah.
Lisa Massey's
Yes, please.
retirement from?
Okay, been requested we pull Ms. Massey's
Retirement.
action out. Take that separately.
So I'd move to approve item F, personnel business procedures, Leslie Massey.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign. Those have been approved. And Ms. Massey?
Can I start with,
Sure.
Mrs. Massey has taught with us since 2000, so 25 years teaching in our school district. Elementary, middle school, she was at the Ed Center for a number of years. Did some awesome service for the school district and just really appreciative of her partnership working as CEA president too in recent years. And just really sad to see her go and really appreciative of the service she's given the district.
Yeah, I'm sad to see her go too, but I just don't think legally we can pay the retirement.
Right.
The early retirement request.
Okay. So your motion would be to
Well, I don't know
approve
if it's-
without the early retirement?
Yeah, I'd make a motion.
I would
You got
just,
your-
I would echo that. I think, You know, timing is unfortunate, but if we were to allow that kind of change now, that just sets us up for similar situations in the future and somebody even from the past. So, I mean, the deadlines are the deadlines, and it's unfortunate, but, yeah, legality aside, I don't think
There's
this is.
precedence.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion, I believe.
Yeah.
Motion to approve Lisa Massey's resignation, paying out contractually due days accrued, but not her request for the early retirement payment.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Financial reports.
So we do have a bill that we're pulling out on the financial reports, and it,
Page 2.
there we go, thank you, yeah. There was some miscommunication around how this was gonna be done. Initially, we had thought that the company was requiring 2 truckloads, on one order. So we were gonna order both truckloads, and then Little League was gonna pay us back. But instead, they invoiced it separately, so we're gonna give the invoice to Little League for them to have their own invoice that way. So we'll only pay for I think it's, what's Brian Rock, I think is,
Brian Rock Products, $2,412.70. And then there's a second, if you look just at the very bottom, it says Brian Rock Products, Inc., 241065. And the description on the next page says Athens County Little League. So it's not showing that it's being paid to Little League, it's this description. So we're pulling that second one.
yeah.
We're not paying that.
So the company doesn't have a minimum, I guess, maybe they did at some point and don't anymore, but, the understanding was that there was a 2 truck minimum, but they don't have that anymore. We verified that with them today. So the invoices are split so that all the correct nonprofit codes are used for everybody.
Oh, so we bought some for Lakeview?
Yeah, for our softball field.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Got it.
We just ordered from the same company for it.
Sure.
Motion to approve with the exception of the second,
The Little League.
Little League Iron Rock Products.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the financial reports. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Financial reports have been approved. Superintendent's report.
I don't have a lot. The biggest, most important thing is that the ISASP testing is done, and that is a huge accomplishment. Kudos to Julie and Cameron for a lot of the work that they did to organize it all the work they did to organize it on the district level, but then also to the principals for running it in each of their buildings very effectively. And awesome, our kids seemed very focused the whole time. Like, it seemed like everybody worked really hard and did a good job, so. Our early, there are on-demand reports that you can get basically almost right away, and we've looked at some scores, and early on, we're seeing some really promising results. So, knock on wood, hopefully as the last few items come through, that'll continue to be the case. Kind of doing the normal April thing, track meets, soccer games, doing all that fun stuff. With April comes a little uptick in, little behavior stuff here and there, so we've done a few of those things this week. Lots and lots of events. We've had, our principals have done a really nice job finding some good candidates for open jobs. Really, I'm super impressed with some of the candidates they found and that you approved, I think, in high school math and a high school science job, and people are out there dying for those. I mean, a nearby district won a year without being able to find somebody, so that they found not only candidates, but high quality candidates like we got there. I'm just super excited. Another exciting thing this weekend, we hosted Boxman Honor Band, 5th and 6th grade elementary honor band. That's one of my babies that I really care about, and it was neat to see a couple hundred 5th and 6th graders running around, maybe literally running around at times in our high school, talking about how cool it was in the cafeteria and everything. So just another great moment to showcase what we've done to our area. So it was good.
Any questions, comments? That leads us to board member takeaways. Carol's going first?
Shortest meeting ever.
No.
No?
Marty Braster has to speak.
Oh, he does? What was his time?
We had a tornado warning, we were in
Oh.
the basement of this building, and it got over real fast.
Okay.
But you're still here.
We were we were here, it was like a 20-minute meeting. And for Marty Braster, God rest his soul, it was nice to see him.
No,
Anyway, that's not here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I'll go back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, since it was a short meeting, I guess, I don't see Aaron here, and I don't see, and I apologize for not having the name of the person in charge of the bus drivers. They're not here, so things must be going okay. So that's good. He's not, I noticed there was another bus driver that signed up, so they're doing pretty good. And that's pretty important to have bus drivers for people where they need to go.
Mr. Wiskins?
not much to say in a short meeting, but I will say that, you know, peer pressure is supposed to be a really bad thing to stay away with, but through a lot of peer pressure, and I have a sub-license. And so I've been in some of the buildings, mostly Howard, a little bit in CHS, and you know what, I need to give Mr. Taylor public acknowledgement. He told me that I would enjoy it, and I told him I wouldn't, but I've actually been enjoying being the done with all the kids, so, it's eye-opening. And, you know, there's a lot of kids out there that, this whole experience is, I'm now starting to understand some things that principals are saying in a way that I've never understood before. So, and you know what, love the 8th grade class, I'm having a blast with them.
Good deal. Who's next?
Short meeting. Thank you, Kevin, for getting your sub license and helping to fill that gap. Yeah, I don't have anything. I think we've kind of talked in the past. I think it's hard to determine what's gonna fall in what meeting, but I would like to see us kind of restructure some things and maybe have director's reports on some of these lighter nights on the front versus, you know, the public hearing nights on that. I know it's pretty on that for everybody, but other than that, you know, the phone's not ringing and nobody's hitting the inbox, so things must be going on on this side, so.
Mine is kind of a shout out to, and I'm not even gonna try to remember who the teacher or what classroom it was. I think it was 3rd grade wing at Lakeview. I was in there this weekend and they have student things posted out in the hallways. And it was the coolest thing, I thought, and maybe I'm just old, but they had their worksheets hanging out there, and it had a QR code that you scan, and you scan that, and it goes to a video presentation of each kid. It was, if you had the opportunity, it was amazing. It was just amazing.
I love this QR.
Yeah,
That is neat.
yeah.
Cool.
Each individual one was the individual student.
Very good.
I probably need to go shop Mrs. Schofield, she did the same thing, I don't want to leave her out with, because she told me I'd love it too. Sorry, dude. I just don't want Terry to be left out, because
So who's supposed to be scanning the QR codes?
I don't know,
Oh.
I was in there for my work and
Yeah.
just kind of went in there and saw him hanging, and me and the other officer were like, oh, so we tried it, and
Oh.
it is cool as could be.
That's neat.
Yeah,
QR code suck you right in.
yeah, it was their little presentation, and it was great.
Some of that A1 presentation.
Well, mine is a couple of the slides that you had in here. I thought a couple of those would be pretty informative, but the next time we have a public comments on taxes, you know, where our rates are going down and all that, those are pretty dramatic. The other thing is the teacher recruitment, I am amazed at what we're getting. And I can't quite figure out how, but I'm not gonna look under the hood. Is it working? It's working. Mr. Wiskus, I'm glad you discovered what I used to call the other side of the desk.
And I have
Nobody knows what it's like, do they, Kurt?
No, And I have to say, I saw Kevin the day, his first day, at the end of the day. We were both here for some reason. The man was giddy.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me saying that, but I just was like, you are filled with joy. This is so
Did
great.
anybody get a first day of school picture?
Oh,
We got first day of school ice cream, I do know
Okay.
that.
Yeah. No, I did not get a first day of school picture, but our family tradition was first day of school, you got ice cream, so I made Mark take me. to get ice cream.
Which meant ice cream, so that was good.
Yeah, that's
And he
all.
bought it.
That was our, yeah.
there you
Yeah,
go.
only a phone call away. It's
Aw.
cool, you know.
Well,
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, that was really fun to see.
Yes,
You're welcome.
well, that's, maybe you'll do more of that.
I'm getting to learn a lot of names, and I have one kid that will run down the hallway in the morning when he sees me to give me a bro hug, and so it's kind of, a kid that's got some trouble. And just able to connect with a few kids and learn their names, and I'm enjoying it.
They want to connect with somebody.
Yeah, I'm learning that.
Mhm.
One last thing is, I'm president of the Iowa Missouri Ford Club, okay? And we offer a scholarship every year. And it has to be something to do with, you know, whatever. And are you the young man?
I signed up for it, I did,
Oh.
Yeah,
so.
very good. And I will tell you that your letter was especially convincing. You did a good job on that.
Okay.
Our group was unanimous in our decision.
Oh,
Quite the story.
Is this
Thank you very much.
an announcement?
What's
seems
that?
like it.
Is
I
this
think
an
he's
announcement?
trying to be careful
This is
not to steal the thunder.
I'm skating along here, it's
Yeah.
unofficial.
Being real careful here.
Unofficial there, so, but no, that's, it was a good thing. We, our group takes a real positive, approach to trying to get people into, automotive, diesel, mechanic, any, whatever, you know, be a mechanic somehow, so, but it's great fun, great fun. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Got it right here.
Got it right here. And we got a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.